Hello, welcome. My name is Mr. Awesome Emmanuel. I'm an academic instructor and a data analyst. So welcome to Quick Learning Mathematics Contest, and in this preparatory class, I'll be your instructor. We'll be covering 6 models in all, and in each models, we'll be considering some basic calculations, some quiz questions, and many other practice exercises. So let's get started with the first topic we have for this first model. And the first topic we have for this first class is actually household and commercial arithmetic. And under this topic, let's actually look at the content. So the first thing we'll consider household budgeting, that is calculations that have to relate with household mathematics. The second thing we'll consider is commercial arithmetic. And under this topic, we'll be considering percentage, profit, loss, discount, and commission. So let's actually make progress. Now, but before we go into the calculation itself, let's just build some background and basis. Now, the first topic is household budgeting. And like I said, household budgeting is just the process of planning the family expenditure based on some certain income or the revenue the family is getting at the end of the month. So under this topic, calculations that often comes here are calculations that have to do with electricity bills and payments of bills like water bills and all that. They're just simple basic arithmetic calculations. The next thing is savings. Now, savings also refer to the part of an income that is kept aside for future use and all that. So under this savings, calculation that often comes across this topic is percentage spent and what is actually remaining. So the next thing we're going to learn or consider is the commercial arithmetic. Under this topic, we'll be considering the profit and loss, discount, commission, and discount, commission. I think okay, discount and commission. But let's just start from the first part, the profit and loss. Now, we understand that when buying and selling, when the cost of an item is lower than its selling price, the result is profit. But when the cost of price or when the cost price of an item is higher than its selling price, the result is often always a loss. So in other words, gain or a profit is selling price minus the cost price. But to get a loss, or when we have a loss, is when the cost price is actually greater or higher than the selling price. So for loss is cost price minus selling price. So when we want to get the percentage profit or the percentage loss is, for instance, the percentage profit is the profit divided by the cost price then times 100%. While the loss is the loss divided by the cost price times 100%. I've explained how to get the profit and how to get the loss. Now, but let me just establish something here. Whenever you are calculating either percentage profit or percentage loss, it is always over the cost price. It is always over the cost price, because at times students find it confusing whether to put cost price as your denominator at some point or to put selling price as your denominator at other points. But the point is, whichever you are calculating, either percentage profit or percentage loss, your denominator is always your cost price. So let's make progress. So the next thing we want to consider is simple interest as well. Now, simple interest, as we all know, is the amount of money that is paid on loan or saving at a fixed interval of time. That is, the simple interest, the time, the rate can be calculated by using this formula: principal times rate times all divided by 100. In other words, simple interest is the principal times the rate times time over 100. But if we want to get the principal, is the 100 times the interest over rate and time. And to get the rate is 100 times interest divided by principal times time. And to get the time is 100 times interest divided by principal times rate. So these are just simple basics formula I trust we should be familiar with by this point. Now, apart from simple interest, we also have what we call compound interest. Now, this is determined same way as simple interest, except that the interest is added to the principal at the end of each year or period. Now, there is kind of there are two ways we can actually solve questions that have to do with compound interest. But if we want to use the formula, this is just the formula method to calculate the amount under compound interest. So for compound interest, we want to get the amount at the end of a particular year. The amount will be A equals to the principal upon the bracket 1 plus the rate over 100, always to the power of n, where n here stands for the number of years or period. This is the formula we use to calculate, but at times there are some instances where we can actually use this formula directly. Now, depending on the question, let's proceed and you will get to understand what I'm saying. Now, the next thing is discount. Discount is the amount of money reduced from the original marked price, from the original or the original marked price of a given item. It can be calculated as a percentage of the marked price. And how do we calculate discount? Discount is on the discounted price is the market price, that is the original price minus the discount. Let me just give a very quick scenario. Supposing I'm selling a bottle of drink for 100 naira, and that is the marked price or the original price. Now, if you want to buy, I can actually say I'm giving you a discount of 5 naira. So the discounted price now, or what you'll be paying, given the fact that I'm giving you a discount of 5 naira, you'll be paying 95 naira, because 100 minus 5 give us 95. So that's just the idea of discount. Discount always comes when a customer is getting a high number of purchases. Then you have to just reduce the price. Now the next point is commission. This is the amount of money paid to someone based on the value of goods sold. It can be calculated in terms of fixed price or as a percentage of what is agreed to be paid. Now let me also paint another scenario for commission. Now supposing I sell some particular item for a company, for instance, let's say a car company, and the company will just make an agreement with me saying if a car costs let's say $1 million naira, 1 million naira, the company can say for any car I sell for 1 million naira, they'll give me a commission of 100,000. So in other words, I will know at the end of the day that if I sell 2 cars, which is 2 million naira, what I will be remitting to the company is not to the 2 million naira. I have to remove my own commission, which is 100 million naira for each. 100,000 naira for a car. But since I sold 2 cars, it will be 200,000. So I'll be remitting 1.8 million. So commission is just like amounts paid based on the value of goods that was sold. So that is commission. So having laid this foundation, I think it's good enough. One will go into basic calculations. Now, the first calculation I want to just consider is this. Now, the question is, find the simple interest on 400 naira for 2 years at 3% per annum. This question was actually pulled from Calbepedia 2016. And to solve this, the principal is 400 naira, the time is 2 years, and the rate is 3%. So to get the interest now, is the principal 400 times the rate 3 times time 2 over 100. If these zeros cancel the zeros, what we have left is 4 times 3 times 2, which is 24 naira. So the interest in this case is 24 naira. Question number 2. Now, at what rate per annum is simple interest paid when 400 naira yield an interest of 5 naira in 1 year? This question was also pulled from 2017 Calbepedia. Now, to do this, we're looking for the rate at this point. So our formula, haven't stated the parameters given. Principal is 400 naira. The time is 1 year. The rate is the interest is 5 naira. So the rate is what we're actually looking for. So using our formula, 100 times interest, that is 100 times 5 over principal times time. The time is 1. So if this 0 cancels this 0, what we have left is 5 over 4. And 5 divided by 4 is 1.25%. So this is actually the rate. I trust you understand what we're doing. Now let's move on to the next question. Now in this case, we're asked to find the amount on interest on a simple interest of 720 naira for 3.5 years at 5.5%. Now in this case, we're asked to get the amount. Now this is how to actually solve it. State your parameters as well. Principal is 400 naira, time is 3.5 years, the rate is 5.5%. We don't know the interest yet, and we don't know the amount yet. So the first thing to do is for us to get the interest. The reason is because to get amount, what we're asked to find, amount is principal plus interest. So we have to get the interest. To get the interest, PRT over 100, the principal is 720, the rate is 5.5%, the time is 3.5% over 100. 5.5% in decimal is 7.2, 3.5 in decimal is 3.5. If these two zeros work on this 720, what we're going to have left is 7.2. 7.2 multiplied by 3.5 multiplied by 3.5, 5.5 by 3.5 will have 138 naira 60 kobo as our interest. But the question says amount. So to get the amount now is the principal, which is 720, plus the interest, which is 1,380, 138 naira 60 kobo. The addition of these two gives 858 naira 60 kobo as the amount. So always take note, when you are given principal, you are asked to find the amount, you have to get a simple interest first, then before getting the amount. In other words, you can also be given amount, principal, and you'll be asked to get interest. This relationships works better that way. So let's make progress. Now the next thing is actually compound interest. Now on the compound interest, we have this. Now, like we said, compound interest, the interest at the end of every year is added to the original principal, and this becomes a new principal for the next coming year. Now let's actually get into the details. Find the compound interest on 10,000 naira for 2 years at 10%. Now the first thing we have to do, we have to get the interest for the first year. For the first year, our time will be 1. So the principal is 10,000, the rate is 10%, that is 10, and the time is 1. 1 because it's for the first year of 100. If these 2 zeros cancel those 2 zeros, what we have left is 1,000. What it means is at the end of year 1, the interest we'll be getting is 1,000 naira. Now for year 2, this 1,000 naira will be added to the principal. Originally, the principal originally was 10,000. Added to 1,000, we'll have 11,000. This is our amount at the end of year 1. But in the beginning of the second year, this amount becomes the principal now. So in the second year, the principal will now be 11,000 naira, no longer 10,000. 11,000 naira times 10 times 1, still times 1 because I'm calculating the interest for a period of 1 year, not times 2. Times 1. I'm calculating the principal, the interest for a period of 1 year. So doing this, I'll have 1,100 naira as my interest. So at the end of year 2, now the amount I'll be having in my account as it were is the amount I had earlier at the beginning of the year, which is 11,000, plus the interest I had throughout, which is 1,100, and the summation will give us 12,100. Now, but the question says this, what we get now is just the amount at the end of the 2 years period. But the question says we should find the compound interest. So for us to get the interest now, the compound interest is the amount minus the principal. So the amount, what we get at the end of the 2 years, 12,100 minus the principal at the beginning of the year, 10,000, and this will give us 2,100. This concept of compound interest is what our banking sector actually does. They give you the interest, add the interest to your original money, and that serves as a new principal for the next year. So this is just the methodological way of solving compound interest. You get the interest first, add it to the principal, then you continue as your principal in the next coming year. But we can actually use formula in this case. How do we use the formula? Remember the formula I brought up earlier on, which is actually this. So let's try to get this. Now, the formula in this case, A is our amount. That is the amount we're going to get at the end of the year. So the principal is 10,000. We have 1 here. The rate is 10 over 100. Then N for the 2 years period, we have 2. 10 divided by 100 is 0.1. 0.1 plus 1 is 1.1. Now 1.1 square is 1.21. 1.21 times 10,000 is 12,100, which was the same amount we had here. So instead of following this methodological way of solving it, we can just use this formula to get the amount at the end of the 2 year period. Now, when that is done, to now get the interest, now the compound interest is the amount minus the principal, which is 3 days minus days, to get 2,100 naira. I trust you understand the concept of compound interest now. Now let's see the next topic. We have this question on the screen. You can pause the video and try to give it a trial to see if you get it. I will continue. You can unpause the video to see my solution. Thank you very much. Welcome back. So let's see your answer. Now to get that, we can just actually use a formula here to solve. How do we do that? Just bring out, since we're asked to get the value of the investment after this period, that is the amount at the end of the 2 years period. So the amount, we can use a formula method together. The principal was 250,000. Then the rate 4 over 100, the time is 2. 4 divided by 100 is 0.04, plus 1 is 1.04. Square of that will give us 1.0816. When multiplied by 250,000, we have 270,400. This is the amount, the value of the investment at the end of the period, of the 2 years period. Now the second part, we should calculate the compound interest. The compound interest will be our amount now minus the initial principal, so which is 270,400 minus 250,000, and we'll get 20,400. If you get these two answers correctly, then it thumbs up for you. Now let's make progress. The next question is actually a quiz, a quick quiz. Now let me just prep us up about how this quiz is going to look like. The quiz is 5 seconds question. The quiz will give you 5 seconds to answer a very simple question. I'll also be teaching you quick tricks to answer these questions under the 5-second window. Now let's get started. This is the first question. You have 5 seconds, and after 5 seconds the question goes up automatically. Question 1 comes up now. Find the simple interest on 900 naira for 6 years at 5% per annum. The time starts now. Time's up. Question number 2. At the end of the questions, we'll do corrections to it. A building society charges 4% per annum on loans to buy houses. How much simple interest will be payable on a loan of 20,000 for 20 years? You have your options A, B, C, D, and your time starts now. Time's up. The next question, question number 3. What must be the rate of interest on 500 naira to produce 50 naira in 6 months? Option A, 20%, option B, 15%, option C, 25%, and option D, 40%. Your time starts now. Question number 4. Trust you're enjoying yourself. Relax and let's continue. Find the compound interest on 90,000 naira for 2 years at 5% per annum. Option A, 9,100. Option B, 9,000. Option C, 9,500. And option D, 9,225 naira. Your time starts now. The last question. Take a deep breath. Let's continue. Mr. Dowden invests 10,800. At the end of each year, he withdrew the interest. After 4 years, he had withdrawn a total of 3,240 in interest. At what annual rate of interest was his money invested? Option A, 6.5%. Option B, 4.5%. Option C, 7.5%. And option D, 8%. And your time starts now. Time's up. Yeah. Okay, I think that is all. Let's go for the correction and see. And I'll also tell us the short way to actually solve some of these questions. Now the first question is this. When you have 5 seconds questions and 5 seconds questions to answer, you have to be faster than the quiz master by using your sight to see the questions in split of seconds. Before the quiz master is done reading, you should have read the questions and also see the solve options. So the best way to solve this, the question is interest. I'm looking for interest. I'm giving principal rate and time. The fast way to solve this, I know interest is PRT over 100, so the 2 zeros in my denominator will cancel these 2 zeros here. So what I have left is 9 times 6 times 5. So I'll do that fast. 9 times 6 times 5 will give me 270. So the answer is C. If you get that, a thumbs up for yourself. The next question is the same thing. The same thing. Ignore all the stories. The major point is I'm looking for the interest. 4%, 20 years, 20,000. The same thing. Cancel these 2 zeros. This cancel this. I have 4 times 200 times 20. So 4 times 200 times 20 will give me 16,000 naira, and the answer is option B. Now, the next question, question C. What must be the rate of interest on 500 naira to produce 50 naira in 6 months? You should know this now. If you are looking for any of the other items, principal, rate, or time, your numerator will be 100 times the interest and multiply by the other 2 times. So what I'll just do is my 100 times my interest, 100 times my interest is 50, and that will give me 5,000. Now multiply and divide it by the other 2 terms, which is 500 and 6 months. Now, but you know you have to convert 6 months to a year. 6 months to a year will be 0.5, that is half a year. So now multiplying 500 by 0.5 will give us 1,000. Sorry, will give us 250. Multiplying 500 by 0.5 will give us 250. So now what we have in the numerator earlier on was 5,000. So now the 5,000 we have divided by 250 will give us 20, and the answer is option A. Now, the question number 4 is find the compound interest on 90,000 for 2 years at 5% per annum. In this case, you're going to use the compound interest formula, the principal into the bracket 1 plus the rate over 100 all squared. So how to do this is 9,000. Now, ignore the 9,000 first. What you need to do is the percent. That is 5 divided by 100, which will give us 0.05. We add it plus 1, we have 1.05. Then the square of this. Now, the square of this will give us 1.1025. Now, how do you get this? This should just be the most technical part. When you multiply 1.015 times 1.05. So, when you are able to get that, then you multiply it by my 9,000. What it does to just remove the zeros. So multiply by 90,000 rather, I will have 9. Okay, let's check if the answer is actually here. Let me take my time to calculate it. 1 plus 0. Okay, first of all, 5 divided by 100. 5 divided by 100 is 0.05. If I add it plus 1, I have 1.05. Square it because it's 2 years. 1.05. I have 1.1025. Then multiply it by 90,000. I have 99225. That is my amount minus my interest, my principal rather. I have 9225, and the answer is option D. Let me be sincere. This question, 5 seconds will be too small to solve this question, but just get the gist how to solve questions very fast. So the last one, the option is option D here. Now let's see the last one. The last one is Mr. Dauda invested this. Okay, the same thing is at what annual rate of interest was the money invested? Okay, this is simple interest. So what we're gonna do is he invested 10,800 at the end of the year. So since if he withdrew 3,240 as the interest, so we want to calculate the rate. So getting the rate from my calculation, the answer is option C, 7.5. Anyway, this is just a prep class. You can actually pause the video and make your calculation. So the answer here is option C, 7.5%. So that is quite how far we can go with simple interest and compound interest for this quiz. So let's continue to see the other part of the lesson. So this part of the lesson will be considering profit and loss. Now, the first question. Tunde bought a calculator for 300 naira and sold it for 390 naira. Find its percentage profit. Obviously, Tunde made a profit because the selling price was more than the cost price. So to get the profit is XP, I mean selling price minus cost price. 390 minus 300 is 90. There is profit. So to get the percentage profit is the profit that is 90 naira divided by a cost price. Remember, it's always divided by cost price, 300, then multiply by 100. This 20 takes care of this 20. We have 90 divided by 3, and here by 3 is 30%. So the percentage profit is 30%. Number 2, the sales price of a car is 6,400, which is 20% off the original price. What is the original price? Understand the question. The sales price of a car is 6,400. This 6,400 is actually 20% off the original price. what was the original price? So we'll say let the original price be X naira. So 20% of X naira was what actually gave 6,400. So now 6,000, to get our X now, it will be 6,400 times 100 by 20. Now 20 here 1, 20 in 100 is 5. 5 times 6,400 will have 32,000 naira. In other words, the original price is 32,000 naira. Now what this means is 20% of 32,000 naira will give us 6,400. Now let's move on to the next question, and that is question number 3. The price of a radio set is reduced from $2,000 to $1,600. What is the percentage reduction? Now we have to get the reduced amount. So the reduced amount is $2,000 minus $1,600, which is $400. So the percentage reduction is $400 divided by the original. The original value was actually 2,000. It's always over the original. 400 divided by 2,000 times 100, and that will give us 20%. So the percentage reduction is 20%. Now number 4, a wristwatch costs $800. At what price should it be sold to make a profit of 20%? Now observe how we solve. The cost price is $800. The selling price we don't know, but the profit we want to actually get here is 20%. So to do that, we'll say the profit of 20%, that is 20 over 100, will be equals to, for us to get profit, is selling price minus cost price, always over cost price. The selling price, I don't know it, I call it S. Sorry, the selling price, I don't know, I call it X. The cost price, $800 divided by $800. So what I'll do, I'll cross multiply. If I cross multiply, what I'm gonna have is this $800. Okay, now observe what I've done. What I did here was 20 here 1, 20 here, 20 in 100 is 5. Let me correct that. Okay, that is corrected. So 20 here 1, 20 here is 5. So what I did, I just multiply $800 times 1 is 800, then 5 multiplied by this, I have this. So we can actually choose to open this bracket, or I just divide this 800 by 5 because I know it's divisible. So by that I have 160 to give me X naira minus $800. So collect my like terms here, bring this guy here. I have 160 plus 800, and that will give us $960. In other words, for us to make a profit of 20%, the wristwatch have to be sold out for a price of $960. Now let's make progress. The next question is, an article costs $5,000, naira. A discount of 40% for cash payment was allowed. What is the discounted price? To get the discounted price is 40% of the original price, which is 40% of 5,000, and that will give us 2,000 naira. So the discounted price is 2,000 naira. The next question, a car cost 250,000 and was repaired with 50,000 naira. It was then sold for 350,000. How much was the profit? So to get the profit here, what we get to do is the selling price minus the cost price minus the cost of repair. Now the selling price was 350,000, the cost price was 250,000, the cost of repair is 50,000, and the profit will finally come up to 100,000. Now if we're asked to get the percentage profit here, is this profit divided by the cost price, whereby 250,000, not 300,000. That is not adding 250 by 300. I mean 250 to 50,000. No. If we are asked to get the percentage profit, is 100,000 divided by 250,000, then multiplied by 100%. So, but the question just asks us to get the profit. So the profit is 100,000. Now the last questions, or the number 7th question, is, what is the bill of a house that consumes 100 units of electricity if it is charged at $0.01 per unit? So if 1 unit costs $0.01, what will be the charge of 1,000 units? The charge of 1,000 units is 0.01 times 1,000, which is $10. So in the next lessons will be our general evaluation text. See you in the next short video. Hello, welcome back. In this part of the lesson, I'll be giving us time to solve questions ourselves. Then at the end of the time, we'll now have to see the corrections together. Now we will have 5 questions, and I want to give you sufficient time to work these 5 questions. Please don't pause the video, just work with my time. Then after 5 minutes, 5 minutes to equations, I want to test your accuracy at this point alongside with your timing. After 5 minutes, then we'll do the correction. So let's start with the first part. Now this is the first part of the questions. Now your time actually starts now. After 5 minutes, we'll do the correction. I'm still with you. You should be on question number 5 now. Get ready to start. Five seconds to go. Time's up. Okay, now let's do the corrections together. The first question, actually, I've used it before in one of the examples I solved with us, and I think the answer is option D. Mark yourself if you get the answer correctly. It's actually simple. What you do, just multiply this value by 3.5 by 5.5 divided by 1000. You have 138 naira 60 kobo. Number 2, the answer is D. The same thing, 900 by 6 by 5 over 100, just 9 times 6 times 5 to 70. Number 3, answer is C. How do we solve this? I think we have solved it before too. 16,000. Number 4, answer is C. Now, observe something. A milk seller borrowed 200 naira from a bank at 5% on 1st of July last year. He's expected to pay up with interest on 1st of July of the following year. It just means a 1-year period. How much will he pay? Is 200 times 5 times 1 over 100. How much will he pay back altogether? Actually, the interest here is 10 naira because 200 times 5 times 1 over 100 is 10. So 10 naira plus the amount borrowed, which is 200 naira, so 210 naira. Then they see a car bought for 100,000 was later sold for this. Find the percentage loss. So the loss there is 20,000. So 20 divided by 100, which is actually 5. 20,000 divided by 100,000 is 5. That is, yes, 1 over 5. Then times 100 will give us 20%. So the answer is C. So let's go to the next question here. And the next question also lasts for 5 minutes. And your time, this is the question, and your time starts now. I'm still with you. You should be on question 9 now. Okay, get ready to stop. Less than 60 seconds to go. Okay, less than 5 seconds to go. Time's up. Okay, now let's see the corrections together. Number 1, the answer is A. A man bought a radio for 5,000. He later sold it for 6,000. What is the percentage profit? The profit there is 1,000 naira. So it's 1,000 divided by 5,000 times 100%. That gives 20%. For how long? Number 7. Must I leave 400 naira in the bank to earn an interest of 48 naira, the rate being 3%? To solve this is the 100 times the interest, which is 100 times 48, divided by 400 times 3, and the answer will give us 4 years. Number 4. What must be the rate of interest of 500 naira to produce 50 naira in 6 months? It feels as though we have solved this question before. The answer is 20%. Adamu invests 10,800 naira. After 4 years, he has earned 3,240 naira in interest. At what annual rate of interest did he invest his money? The answer is 7.5%. Since we have also solved this, Mr. Dauda invested this amount of money. This question number 9 and 10 is just the same thing, just a change of English language, and the answer also is 7.5%. So the next question will be from question number 11 to 15. Okay, here's the next question, 11 to 15, and your time starts now. I'm still with you. You should be in question number 13 by now. Should be in the last question now. Get ready to stop. Okay, time's up. Now the first one, the person invests 6690 at 9% interest per year. How long will it be before the investment is worth 9,000 naira or more? The answer in this case is actually 4 years. And how do we solve it? Understand. Now, a person invests this amount at 9% per 9% simple interest per year. How long will it take before the investment is worth this or more? What this or more? This value is actually the amount. So what we're going to do here now is when you minus this amount, that is minus the principal from this amount, you will have 6. Okay, let's do that together. 9,000 minus 6690, we'll have 2310. This 2310 you have is your interest. So now you have your interest as I, you have your principal as well, you have your rate. You can find the time now. When you do that, you have 3 point something. So the best answer is 4 years. The question number 12 is this. Now, Mr. Adamu invests a sum of money at 12% per annum simple interest, which amounts to this in 1 year. Calculate the sum invested. So, to get the sum invested, you were actually looking for the principal. What we're going to do here is, it's kind of algebra in nature, but the answer is 3,000 naira. What I mean by algebra in nature is that we have to use this relationship. We have to use the relationship of the amount is equal to principal plus interest. So in that case, you have to make the principal the subject of the formula. When you make principal subject of formula, you substitute it into interest equals to PRT over 100. With that, you can get the amount invested, your P. Number 13, the answer is 5,000 naira. A radio seller gained 400 naira in a transaction which was equivalent to 8% profit or the cost price. Now, I gave a similar example to this. So if you do 8% of 100, that is, 8 over 100. Now, 8%, that is 8 over 100 equals to, now to get the profit is selling price minus cost price over cost price. Now we know this 400 was actually the gain. So since we have the profit already, so you don't need to do selling price minus cost price. Just do 8 over 100 equals to 400 over x. X will be your cost price. When you come multiply, you have 5,000 as your answer. Number 14, the answer is C, 350. After I have allowed a discount of 6% on the price of a radio set, I paid 32900 kobo for it. What was the original price of the radio set? Okay, I also give a similar example to this again. That is 6% of x equals to this. Then you find x, you have 350. The last one, Mr. Adamu sells the bicycle for 810 naira and makes a profit of 8%. How much did he pay for the bicycle? 15 and 13 happens to be the same method, so the answer is 750. So the last question is question number 16 to 20, and this is the question. Your time starts now. Get ready to stop. Okay, time's up. Now, for numbers, question number 16, the answer is 55 naira. Surprising? Let's see it together. If a book is sold at 40 naira, the loss is 20%. How much should a book be sold in order to make a gain of 10%? Now let's solve it together. Now listen as I explain. Now if the book is sold at 40 naira, the loss is 20%. In this case, we have to get the cost price for us to get a loss of 20%. To get the cost price, what you will do, just do 20 over 100 will give us the cost price minus this selling price of 40 over cost price over x. That is 20 over 100 is equals to x minus 40 over x. So in that case, getting x now is our cost price. If you solve it that way, you get the cost price to be 50 naira. In other words, if the book is actually, the cost price was 15 naira and we sold it out for 40 naira, the loss will be 20%. So I've been able to get the cost price now. Now we use this cost price of 50 naira to get a gain of 10% profit. So how do we solve it now? We're looking for selling price, haven't gotten the cost price of 50. So to do that is 10 over 100 is equals to x minus 50 over 50. So solving this way, we'll have our selling price to be 55 naira. Number 17, the answer is D. Now, number 18, the answer is E. Number 19 is B. And number 20 is E. Now, let me explain it quite a bit. Now, by selling a crate of eggs for 600 naira, a farmer makes a profit of this. How much did the farmer pay for the egg? It's similar to how to solve this. So just do 50 over 100 is equals to, now I'm looking for the how much did the farmer pay. I'm looking for the selling price, so it will be x minus 600 divided by 600, you get your 400 naira. So how much did the farmer pay? That is the cost price, rather. We're getting for the cost price, so that is that. Okay, number 18, a trader reduces his price by 15 kobo. Find the price of the shirts, which was originally 20 kobo. 20 kobo to 20 naira to kobo, that should be 2000 minus 15 kobo, that is 19 naira 85 kobo, and so on. So number 19, I trust number 19 is simple as well, 12,600, and number 20 is E. You can have this video, you have this video already. You can also make requests for this PowerPoint material you use so that you can actually study on your own. That is how far we can go for this first module of this course. Thank you for staying with me and have a nice day. Bye.